What if dating apps are specifically designed to make sure you never find love? Not as a side effect, not as a bug, as the business model. Think about it for once. If you find the love of your life on Tuesday, you delete the app on Wednesday. That's a lost customer. That's lost revenue. So what does a rational, profit-driven company actually want? They want you hoping. Just enough hope to stay subscribed, never enough success to leave. Now. Maybe that's a crazy conspiracy theory. Maybe these apps genuinely want you to find love and just happen to make billions of dollars when you don't. Or maybe you've been paying $35 a month for a product that is quietly, algorithmically, working against you. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which one it is. Dating apps are one of the greatest inventions in human history. You can now be rejected by someone you've never met, in a city you don't live in, for reasons that will never be explained to you, in under half a second. Previously, this would have taken weeks of effort and at least one awkward conversation. Now it's basically automated, which is genuinely impressive when you think about it. A friend of mine downloaded Tinder a few years ago, spent 3 hours optimizing his profile with his best photos, his wittiest bio, and what he described as his most flattering angle, which was from above and slightly to the left. He got 4 matches in 2 weeks. 2 of them were bots, 1 never responded, and the 4th asked him what his star sign was, and then unmatched him when he said, Scorpio. He is still on the app. He has been on the app for 3 years. This is called Hope, and it is dating apps' primary product. Not matches, not dates, not relationships. Hope. Specifically, the kind that keeps you swiping for another 20 minutes at 11:30 p.m. when you have work tomorrow. Now, there is a product that charges you more money the worse it works, deploys an algorithm specifically designed to keep you engaged rather than successful, and has a business model built almost entirely on human loneliness. It has somehow convinced an entire generation that the reason it isn't working is a personal failing on their part. That product is dating apps, and today, we are going to explain them seriously. To understand dating apps, you have to understand what problem they were supposedly solving. The problem was that meeting people in real life required you to be in the same physical location as another human being. Dating apps said, what if we removed that barrier? What if you could meet people from the comfort of your bedroom, in your pajamas, at any hour, without any of the social risk of a real interaction? What they did not mention is that they were essentially replacing one problem with 17 slightly different problems. You no longer have to approach someone in person, which is great. You now instead have to compress your entire personality, physical appearance, sense of humor, life ambitions, and fundamental worthiness as a romantic partner into 6 photos and a bio that is somehow both casual and impressive without trying too hard, which is the same energy as being asked to parallel park while someone films you and rates your technique out of 10 in real time. The dating app profile is one of the strangest documents in modern human existence. It asks you to answer the question of who you are as a person in a format that rewards looking good in outdoor lighting and having been to at least one country that isn't your own. Now, a reasonable person might assume that a dating app's goal is to help you find a match as quickly as possible, after which you leave the app forever, deeply satisfied. This is not correct. A dating app is a business. Businesses make money by keeping you on their platform. A dating app that successfully matched everyone immediately would have no users within 6 months. This is what is known in the industry as a bad business model. For this reason, dating app algorithms are optimized not for your romantic success, but for your continued engagement. They show you people who are just attractive enough to keep you interested and just out of reach enough to keep you swiping. This is the same psychological principle used by slot machines, which are also very popular and also do not result in long-term relationships. Usually, the premium tier exists because the free tier is specifically calibrated to be just frustrating enough that paying feels rational. You unlock the ability to see who liked you, which sounds like a significant advantage until you realize that the people who liked you are the same people you would have eventually seen anyway. You just now know about it sooner and paid for that information. This is girl math, boy math, and app math all at the same time, which is the unified theory of financial decisions that feel rational while you're making them and don't afterward. So you've matched. Congratulations. You have successfully signaled mutual willingness to potentially consider the theoretical possibility of entering into a conversation with each other, subject to both parties still finding the other interesting in approximately 3 to 7 business days when someone gets around to sending the first message. What happens next is the conversation, which is the second most chaotic feature of dating apps after the algorithm itself, which is saying something. The opening message is a problem that has generated more collective anxiety than most geopolitical events. Say something too generic and you disappear into a queue of about 400 other messages that all say, "Hey," with varying numbers of yais. Say something too specific, and you've clearly read their profile too carefully, which somehow communicates threat rather than interest, which if you think about it for too long becomes a fairly grim commentary on modern trust. Say something funny, and you're gambling that humor translates correctly through text to a stranger with no shared context or history, which is statistically a losing bet, and you know it before you hit send. The average dating app conversation lasts approximately 4 exchanges before both parties quietly agree by doing nothing that this particular experiment has concluded. Like a group chat that everyone has stopped responding to, but nobody wants to be the one to officially end. The conversations that survive long enough to suggest actually meeting somewhere then enter the scheduling phase, which is where relationships go to discover that two people's calendars are fundamentally incompatible before they've ever been in the same room. Meanwhile, the conversation you are having with the app's own notification system is going significantly better. It messages you every day. It is always available. It genuinely just wants you to come back. Frankly, of the 2 ongoing relationships you are currently maintaining, the app is putting in more effort. Now, if you actually make it to a date, you have beaten the odds in a way that statistically deserves some form of acknowledgement. You have navigated profile creation, algorithmic visibility, mutual swiping, the opening message, a conversation that didn't die, and the scheduling of a time and place that worked for 2 adults with jobs and commitments and a previously full calendar. You are now sitting across from a real human being in a coffee shop, which is where all first dates happen because it is short enough to escape from if necessary, but long enough to be polite. The date itself is usually fine. Sometimes you realize within about 4 minutes that the photos were from a different era of their life, and the bio was written by a slightly more optimistic version of the same person. This is not deception exactly. It is more like aspirational marketing, which is something every major brand does constantly, and which we have collectively decided is acceptable when it is a corporation and dishonest when it is a person going on a date, which is an interesting distinction to have made. The important thing is that after the date, however it went, the app is still there. Waiting. It has already sent you 3 notifications. It wants to know if you're ready to meet someone new. It believes in you. It always has. Now for $29.99 a month, it believes in you considerably more. Now, at some point you have to step back and appreciate what we have done here. We have collectively decided that the optimal way to find a life partner is to outsource that process to a technology company whose quarterly revenue depends entirely on you not finding one. We then spend a significant amount of emotional energy wondering why the whole thing feels vaguely terrible, which is a bit like signing up for a gym membership, never going, and wondering why you aren't getting fitter. The honest answer is that dating apps didn't invent the problem of meeting people. Meeting people was always hard. Dating apps just made it faster and more quantified, which means you now fail at it more efficiently and with significantly better data about exactly how and why, which is genuinely an improvement. Probably. My friend is still on Tinder. He updated his photos last month. He's optimistic. He's using a photo from slightly to the left and slightly from above. He got a match last Tuesday. She asked him what his star sign is. He told her Scorpio. We are waiting to hear back.